अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाजरीन। प्रोग्राम खास मुलाकात में आपका खैर मकदम है। मैं अथर खान। आज हमारे साथ हमारे स्टूडियोज़ में मौजूद है मिस्टर डैरन विंडसर, जो डायरेक्टर है IK लंदन कॉलेज के और सीनियर लेक्चरर है जो UK और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के कई कॉलेजेस यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में पढ़ा चुके हैं। तो चलिए मिलते हैं, बात करते हैं मिस्टर डैरन विंडसर से। Well, Darren, welcome to our studios.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. First, welcome to India, welcome to Hyderabad.
Oh, lovely. I enjoy being here. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. We like to know more about your visit right now, and since you're planning to make your home as promoting the education part. So can you please brief us on your career, like how was your career, when you start, where you started, and what exactly you teach also, and what's your plan?
Right. Okay. Well, like Mr. Iqbal Khan, I started in the country. I was a farmer's son in Australia. I went to the Queensland University, did my first qualification there in mathematics. Moved down to Melbourne. I worked as a statistician in the retail sector. Got to really love finance, and then I did my accountancy qualification and my teaching qualification in Melbourne at the Australian Catholic University. I started teaching at Monash University, teaching both mathematics and databases and that type of stuff to business students and engineering students. Then I met my wife. She had me come over to England. I did my master's degree in England, and ever since I did my teaching degree 20 years ago, I've been a teacher and a businessman.
About our Mr. Iqbal Khan,
Yes.
The ambassador of Hyderabad and India in
great
UK
man,
as an
yes.
icon, businessman.
Yeah, he's a great man.
So what's your affiliation? How you got affiliated, and what's your feeling about getting affiliated and making future plans, starting business, educational institutions in India and UK?
Yeah. Well, like most great affiliations, it was purely by chance. I met a very good friend of Mr. Khan's, a chap called Dr. Kamal, on a flight. He then said, "Hey, Mr. Khan, you've got to meet me, and I've got to meet him, because we have some very, very interesting ideas which meshed." And so we got to talking, realised that there was a lot of commonality between us, and we just, ever since then, we just got on like a house on fire, just really, really well. We both believe that education is the future. We both believe that education should be available to everybody as we possibly can. I loved his ideas about starting the college in Hyderabad. I loved his ideas about bringing the best of British education, and as I say, our ideas just joined together so wonderfully.
Beautiful. So as I said, I was talking to Mr. Khan, and he's mashallah very successful in business, and he's doing a lot of charity activities also. So what do you think about his goals, about his aim, about his vision?
His vision is fantastic. It is absolutely great. Mr. Khan wants to put so much back into this country. Every time he talks, he mentions Hyderabad. He mentions his life as a young child in Hyderabad. He mentions how his entire ethos, his way of doing business, his way of living was created by being a Hyderabadi. And in many ways, my Australian heritage and his Hyderabadi heritage are very, very similar. We are both incredibly family oriented. We are both very, very hard workers. We both want to give back to the community. That's one of the reasons that my college in London is not for profit, and which I think he really liked as well. And so it was, as I say, it was a match that just seemed destined to happen.
What do you think? How important is getting education? Being like the development happening across the globe, in present day, how important for our youth, getting education is?
Education creates potential. That's the big thing about education. It is quite possible for somebody who has no education, and you hear it all the time, who has limited education, to succeed because they've worked hard, they've got a bit lucky, and they've been able to make a success. But more people with better education become more successful than people like that. So education creates potential, and for a young lad or for a young girl who actually wants to do well in the world, knowing about the world, knowing about the way things interact together, about their connectivity, knowing about how A affects B or B affects C, all that just gives them so much more potential. And after that, it's up to them. You know, a good education will not create wealth, but a good education will open the doors to wealth.
Career, exactly.
And a good career.
Beautiful. So what subjects you teach exactly?
Well, I've got quite a few
Specialities.
Oh yes, because I love studying. I love learning. I love everything about education. So I've never stopped learning. I teach mathematics, of course. That was my first degree. I teach accountancy and finance. I teach strategy, and I teach IT. So you know, I tend to do all the subjects that students tend not to like, you know, mathematics.
I'm pretty sure, like with the development happening, changing the technology and all, so like you have to study or, you know, do more research before you take the class. So how do you keep up with that?
Oh, well, it's not so much doing research, but when you're as interested in education as I am, and particularly in your fields of study, you just naturally read the latest publications and the latest books. Harvard Business Review, you know, the latest book by Kotler, or the latest book by, you know, by say, you know, I've read a lot of books lately on Grameen Bank, you know, by Dr. Hunis. So you know, it's just keeping up with the latest advances. I mean, a good case in point is the use of, say, game theory in strategy. You know, how one interacts with one's competitors can be modelled in some senses by looking at how one plays games. You know, the strategies of playing games and the theories involved in that is very much linked to business strategy.
Being a mathematician yourself, I think it's really helped you in getting into accounting. It's mostly like the maths.
Yes. But more than that as well. It's because I've studied in various countries, because I've lived in various countries, I'm actually able to understand what the numbers mean a lot better. So being an accountant, being a bookkeeper, you're sitting at a desk, all the numbers, that's fine. But it's the interpretation of the numbers. What do these numbers mean for business? What do they mean for people? You know, what does the numbers mean? Does it mean we have to lay people off? Does it mean we have to put more people on? You know, so numbers themselves mean nothing. It's how they interact with the business organization as a whole, and that's what I'm saying. Education opens that potential. By working and studying in other countries, or by increasing your education in your own country, you're able to analyze what these things mean a lot better.
Presently, India is a massive economy.
Oh,
and
yes.
It's a fastest growing economy in country also. So we have a lot of you know, foreigners from West and Europe coming here doing business and also, you know, working in our country. So what's your plans? Why exactly you're here in Hyderabad?
My plans are basically guided by Mr. Iqbal Khan and his views and his wishes to give something back, you know, to Hyderabad, which I 100% agree with. Throughout my career, I have taught a lot of international students. I've taught students from many countries, both in Africa, Asia, South Asia, you know, and it's always struck me as to how much they want to learn, and being able to be part of establishing a college here, I just feel so lucky. I am so looking forward to this project. It is a fantastic project, and that's why I'm involved, because it just links with what I think education should be, which is, as I say, a way to open doors for people.
Before we get into, you know, the details of your project, I have a question. That have you done your research, or, you know, got enough knowledge that what syllabus we follow at this time, and how by incorporating, you know, like your education system there and the Indian education system, how it's going to be beneficial, you know, to our people here in Hyderabad and India?
Yes, I've dealt very heavily into many Indian curriculums, and of course into Western curriculums as well. One of the things we're going to be doing is bringing in the EdXL post 18 curricula into Hyderabad, and teaching it with a lot of Western content and quite a few Western teachers, myself included.
So you're going to be teaching here too?
Oh yes, yeah, I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing is to incorporate the best of British education and the best of Indian education. You know, when I teach in the UK, I may talk about companies like British Airways. I may talk about companies like 3M,
right.
companies like Pratt and Whitney, Otis Lifts. The European companies. Of course, when we're talking about teaching in India, I'll be talking about Kingfish. I'll be talking about Tata. For example, one of the case studies which I use quite a lot is Ratan Tata's development of the nano car.
Nano car.
Exactly. So
very affordable.
Oh, incredibly affordable. But that affordability has led to some design flaws. It's talking about the good and bad of that type of entrepreneurship. The issues dealing with, say, Grameen Bank and Dr. Yunus, of course, the Bangladeshi Nobel winner. So and of course, looking at the development of India, looking at the political issues, how that affects business, how business and politics can often work together. Talking about, say, things like also how people and organizations have to work together, talking about things like health and safety, talking about things like employment law, talking about things like pensions, financial stability, that type of thing.
Can you give some information about the monkey puzzle nursery?
Yes.
So what exactly, your Mr. Khan's plans,
Yes.
and having you associated with and introducing into our city and our country, like what exactly it is and how you are planning to launch it?
The business model that Mr. Khan's following here is called best of breed. Basically, he's chosen the best of everything and bringing it over. So the best of junior education, the best of kindergarten education, basically is monkey puzzle, and then he's also talking with the best of primary school educators and secondary school educators, and then of course the college, which is where I come in. There are very specialised skills in order to run a nursery, and whilst I'm quite happy to help wherever Mr. Khan thinks I can help, I'm certainly not a nursery teacher. So I like the fact that he's thinking from year 2, 3, 4 of a child's life
to
all the way up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what exactly is your project with IK London College?
I'm helping Mr. Khan set up his college.
You're the director of.
I'm a director of IK London College, exactly, and I'm helping him set up what in England we call it the post-18 education.
Post-18 education.
Yes.
Adult education, we say.
That's exactly right, and or post+2.
Okay.
So we're going to be bringing in qualifications where you do the first 2 years in Hyderabad. You basically get a British education in Hyderabad. We're talking about post+2.
Okay.
So what we're also trying to do is to give, as I say, education opens up doors. So we're trying to give people the freedom to choose where they want to go. So, for example, we have a affiliation with London South Bank University, and so after 2 years here, they can then do the final year at London South Bank in London. Or we're trying to do link-ups with either Osmania University or Hyderabad Central University here, or maybe even a university in the US.
Osmania University also is your preference at this time to get affiliated. You also have the affiliation with the UK, right? So
That's
it will be a fusion.
Yes. It'll be a number of pathways that student has the ability to follow, if they wish. Whatever happens, the student must have the freedom to do, to follow their own heart. And our job as lecturers and our job as a creator of colleges is to give them the options that they can then choose.
Beautiful. We'll continue, the discussion, but we have to take a small break.
That's fine.
नाज़रीन, बातचीत का सिलसिला जारी रहेगा एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद.